Hi, and welcome to MindShifters Radio. And today's Tuesday, January 13th, 2026. Welcome to the show. Welcome, Michael. Hi, Susan.
Thank you, dear heart. Welcome, everybody. Susan.
Hello.
Delighted
Yay, I
you're
get you guys
here.
all to myself. Yay.
Aha. Well, we'll see
Thank
how
you,
long that
God.
lasts. But I was just reading about the link that you sent about the fern medicine.
Oh, were you? Okay,
Interesting,
yeah.
and looking at the that fellow's picture, it's like there's an energy connection there. I'm going to check in with him.
Yeah, but I have had a session with him and very familiar. And actually, he's doing a course which I've signed up for here in February, but it's been years. Just right around the time when I went to Kauai in 2021, he came into my field and he's lovely and very, yeah. And so I'm not surprised,
Yeah,
that,
just
that,
just
yeah,
the look
that
on his face. There's like
I know him, but yeah,
connection.
exactly.
Yeah,
For sure. You look
and
beautiful
this.
today, Jeanie. I just got to point that out because she's just this beautiful light to my left here on my screen. Oh my God, you look so pretty today. That
I
red
get to
is your
look at her.
color.
I get to look at her every day.
Thanks.
I
How
know.
cool is that?
What a beauty. You are so lucky,
Thank
Michael. That's all
you.
I'm saying.
Yeah,
So,
don't get much more blessed than that until the babies show up, and then we both go to a whole other level, which happens
awesome.
tomorrow.
Yeah.
Yay.
The other thought I was having, I was wondering if and if you're going into a medicine course with him, maybe you know this, as I was going to contact him and ask some questions. But it sounds like perhaps he's doing a thing similar to homeopathy. Are you familiar with homeopathy?
Yes, I have a couple
Is
people
it
here that do that. Yeah.
yeah? So is it a homeopathic type preparation?
I don't know. This is more around what the course is all about, just the connection back to Mu. Which of course,
Mhm.
my understanding, what I was showing, there was a continent of Mu, then there was Lemuria. But and often you hear interchangeably that Mu and Lemuria are one. My understanding that's not so. If you were imagining what Mu, and then if you had to drop in density, you would have been in Lemuria, and then Atlantis. These are different densities. Mu still exists, but it's at a frequency. So he's connected back to Mu the origin of that continent or that I'm going to say that frequency.
Yeah. Just
So,
reading what he had to say, it sounded sort of like flower essences and
hmm
homeopathic preparation, but
and he does
I'll
that
look
too.
forward
Yeah,
to
he
learning
does
more.
that too. That he because I've got some of his fern medicine. Like, can he make sprays and all that, and I use it. And
Hmm.
yeah, he's
Cool.
very powerful being, and yeah. So,
Wait.
hmm
Well, what's on your mind for today?
well, my
Looks
mind.
like it's just the three of us.
Yeah, yay. I'm just getting to
Hmm.
myself. How lucky. So it's really starting to come in about this course. So I'm gonna call you after I want to talk to you about that. That's gonna be in Kauai. It looks like I'm being guided. It looks like it's gonna be October 7th to 11th,
Hmm.
2026 in Kauai. And believe it or not, it's the calling of the soul tribe.
Hmm.
Okay, and with the calling of the soul tribe, it's a gathering of the soul tribe. And with that, it is the teachings of your work, other stuff too, but the foundation going through the Aramaic forgiveness and talking about the non-being mind and the being mind, and then going through the process of how to collapse the non-being mind through forgiveness, the Aramaic process. So it's just, yeah, that's coming really strong in breath work. And, no surprise that I was in Kauai in 2021 and go there regularly. And I met like hundreds of people there. So I've got some of my tribe. They're so excited I'm doing this. Like I've been told internally there was going to be an event in Kauai at the end of this year or around in 2026. So I was telling people we're going to be going. I didn't know I'm going to be the one at the front and center doing it though. That just came when I was on Saturday and I'm ready. It's readiness and to bring this work forward, and then but
Cool.
the calling of the soul tribe, and so it'll be 5 days of this, and then also having some deep time for deep meditation, and then doing exactly the prep work that I've been doing and facilitating
Cool.
the work
Are you
so
sure
that
that?
wrap up the key pieces in 5 days. That's what I
Yeah.
want to, and then obviously if we can do it, have you guys there on Zoom if you can't be there in physical presence, and
Oh,
opening
I'm
that
so
up.
sure. You sure you can't move Kauai to Virginia?
No, I can't, because the universe says it has to be in Kauai. I don't know. God says it has to be there. I don't know why, but
No,
it's an energetic. I can feel it. It's Kauai.
when you talk about a 5-day process and doing the why workshop, I've had 9-day why is this happening to me again intensives where we
Yeah,
didn't finish the workshop until the 8th day
yeah,
when the
yeah.
processing kicks in. So
It'll be
cool.
interesting. And it is a gathering of the soul tribe, and I've known this. And then also, it's really important to land this forgiveness process, and then also sharing about your teachings on the non-being mind and the being mind. And so it's just percolating, and so I hope to have it out for registration here by the first week of February.
Cool.
And
When you
it
say
yeah.
soul tribe,
hmm
who are you talking about with soul tribe?
so the soul so
You're
the
just talking about people who relate to each other
it's going
as
to be
beings.
I feel it's an inner calling. This isn't a divine appointment, that the souls will know who need to be there, and it's a resonance field. And so whether they've never been introduced to this work, but their soul knows, and then activations will occur, and they will get being awoke or whatever. So if they haven't, most of the people that are in my world, and I've traveled quite a bit, so I have quite a soul tribe already that I keep in contact with. It seems like I'm the hub, or so I know people, but those who will show up they're on the path for this, and it is related to Jesus's time, that we're coming back around as soul characters and meeting these beautiful souls. And this activation piece is very important about teaching them and bringing into their awareness and the brain cells. They have it already from other lifetimes, but this forgiveness process in this lifetime, and how to break free of the non-being mind. And then all of us, we all have sacred codes that when coming together in that soul tribe, it's unlocking things in each other, and certain people will have to meet and all that. And I said, okay,
Cool.
I said I'm in complete service to the divine, and I'm just going to show up and do my part. And that's
Cool.
me being front and center to teach it. And so the teaching that I got to practice with your work and this collective, and then being able to bring that in a way, the foundation's been laid, and once I get it laid out, we'll review it to make sure that you're on side with it and it's all fits exactly your theme. And and then there'll be some other just additions about letting them understand and knowing that we really are coming home as a soul tribe for the awakening of humanity, why we're really here. Yeah, I can feel real deep excitement with that.
Well, with what's going on in the culture, it's certainly time for the big wake up to happen.
This is it, yeah, and it's going to be it's right on time. Okay.
Welcome, Miss Sally. How are you, young lady?
I am well. I'm finishing a puzzle of Europe, and I am rebuilding Russia right now. So
Oh, well,
it's
lucky
been
people.
fun. Yeah, in the winter here, we break out the puzzles and get really into it. So it's been fun. And Mom's doing well. We're all just kind of in that hibernation mode, and grateful for more time for contemplation.
I was anticipating you bringing your camera on and you being out there standing in your field.
Yeah, right. Oh, I would love to be in that field. That field is a favorite of mine, and you will see it again in May or as soon as I can get out there. I do walk in the winter snow also, but I'm not there now. So it would be fun to get back.
Oh, well, is there anything exciting happening in your world to share with us?
Oh, wow.
It's just 4 of us right now, so.
Oh, good. Yeah. It's lovely to hear your voices and feel connected through sound. I've been doing a bit of music. My brother plays guitar, and my entire family sings, really sings pretty well. And so
That's cool.
after dinner, we've been making music. My brother and I, we were fond of the Grateful Dead and all kinds of music of that era. And so we've been playing all the old songs. And
The Moody Blues.
Are you
yeah,
recording yourselves?
Not yet, but I told my brother, would it be all right with you if sometime I hit my little record button on my phone, just when we're working on something new, or if we want to be able to remember something? And he said, yeah, just let me know. So, so we may eventually record. It's mostly a way to connect with my brother. Um, it's been years since we've connected on music, and for some reason right now he's ripe and ready and I have the time, and so we're doing it. So that's exciting.
Nice.
Yeah, and my daughter is looking for a new job. Wishing her blessings on that. It's a tough uh, world to be finding your way. She still has a job, and she's just in that transition of knowing that she's been with this job for 6 years, and the level of anxiety of having a caseload of 41 families is just overwhelming. I've been telling her every single week, I don't know how you do it. And the bottom line is she learned how to overwork from her mom, and she learned how to, buckle up and grin and bear it. And it's hard for me to watch her do all that, but I know she's got to go through her journey and find her way in her time. So I'm breathing with all that.
Ah,
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
Well, holding the space.
Thank you for asking.
All right. Well, we've been talking about the idea of becoming or acting as conscious creators, and recognizing that I love what I think there's a line in the course that says you can't not create, and that we are creators, and recognizing that the objective is to get to an awake enough state where we create consciously. And so we went through the last conversation we had about it. One of the quotes that comes forward in regard to this, in terms of really being awake, is, what does it profit a man or woman to gain the whole world if they cannot demonstrate, and change the scriptural quote. It generally is, lose their own soul. But what does it profit if we cannot demonstrate this shift of energy that's required to move out of carbon-based memory, to move into the recognition that we are not carbon-based beings, our physiology is, but rather that we are breath-based beings. And that breath is key. And more I'm recognizing that gift, that whatever is of a conflicting nature, that breath, when engaged, will not only resolve the conflict, but give us a way of understanding what happened, even though it may not fit into intellectual norms. And so that's sort of one of the things that's on my mind at this point, is just really recognizing this on creating consciously, that we are creative beings and we have the ability. Welcome, Cammie. How are you, young lady? And Kathy, too, although we don't hear from Kathy. Anything exciting in your world, Cammie? We've got the Musketeers from the intensive. We can see your face, Cammie, but you're muted.
And Camille's trying to come in. We haven't heard from her in a long time, but she's got some challenges there.
Yeah, technology. So we're just kind of checking in, Cammie. Anything for you to share? No? Okay, cool. So there's an exercise that I'd like to do around this idea of creating consciously. And so I'm going to invite everybody to just get quiet and get into a centered space. And we're going to go through 3 settings. And the objective of this exercise is to look at any kind of limitation that we might have from generational patterns, from messages that we've received or made up in regard to really being creators. And in this case, we use the visualization of abundance in terms of how we experience the world. And so we're going to ask you to go into 3 different settings. And the first one is you just close your eyes. I'm going to invite you to allow yourself to imagine, and of course, keep your breath moving so that if any limiting energy comes up, the breath will handle it. So as you breathe, imagine yourself in a setting of extreme, dire poverty, like the worst of the worst that you can imagine. And here you are. Imagine this is your home at this point. This is where you live, move, and have your being. And as you're in these surroundings, just notice how you feel, what your thoughts are, paying attention to the subtlest thought energies, the subtlest emotions being in this environment. And then we're going to go through a couple of scenarios and invite you to just maintain awareness of your emotions and your thoughts. And so as you're in this setting of poverty, your family comes to visit, mother, father, siblings if you have them, especially anybody that you were close to in your early life. And they're going to come and visit you in this environment. And they don't know it, but you have the ability to sense what's going on for them, what they're thinking, what they're feeling. And so as they come to see you in this environment of extreme poverty, how do you feel about them arriving and seeing you in this kind of poverty? What kind of emotion moves for you? Are there any thoughts? And if so, you might make note of them about being seen by these family members, individually and collectively, in this environment of poverty. And breathe. As you look at each family member that's there visiting you, what do they have to say to you? And what moves in you with their words? And you breathe through the messages that each of them give you, paying attention to what those messages elicit from you in the way of emotions or mind energy thoughts. You breathe. Once again, they don't know it, but you know exactly what they're thinking. So tapping into each of their thoughts. What are their thoughts about you? Seeing you in this environment? And what do those thoughts elicit from you? And what about are their thoughts about themselves being with you in this environment? Are there any significant messages from many of these family members being given to you about being in this environment? Either actual or implied. And with this group being here, are there any conclusions about yourself being found in this environment? And then your family turns to leave. Once again, they don't know it, but you're able to tap into their actual thoughts as they leave. What are they thinking? What are they saying to each other as they depart from visiting you in this environment of extreme poverty? And then another group of visitors comes to see you in this extreme poverty situation. And these are early childhood friends. You know, what maybe was your best friend in school, companion, early relationships. As they enter your space in this scenario where you're in extreme poverty, what are they thinking? What do they say to you? How do you feel about ridding them from this space of extreme poverty? Pay close attention to your thoughts. And if you uncover any limiting thought, make sure to keep your breath going and make a note. Maybe this one needs some forgiveness. You enter into a conversation with these friends. What do they have to say to you? Are there any messages, actual or implied, that might impact your ability? Point out any limiting mind energy that you might hold in regard to creating abundance. And you breathe. You visit with them for a little while. Time for them to leave, and as you leave, Once again, they don't know it, but you're able to read their minds. You know exactly what they're thinking. And as they depart, what's their conversation with each other? What are their thoughts about seeing you in that situation? What are your thoughts? And does any of this resonate? Any form of limiting mind energy that might be beneficial to be aware of and apply forgiveness to? You raise yourself up and you move out of this environment of poverty. As your breath moves and as you step out of that environment, any energy resonated of a poverty nature in you, from your past, from your genes, just melt in the presence of breath. And you breathe. And then you move into another environment, and at this point, you're in this place of mediocrity. You know, it's adequate. But no frills, no extras. How do you feel about being in that environment? What are your emotional responses? And what kind of thoughts do you hold about being in that environment of mediocrity? Your parents, family, the same ones as in the last scenario, come to visit. Once again, they don't know it, but you're aware of every thought they're thinking, everything that's going on in them, and you breathe. How do you feel about being seen in this mediocre environment? How do they feel about being there with you? Are there any limiting thoughts that might impact your ability to create abundance in every arena of your life that makes itself aware, brings itself into awareness? As you interact with these family members, are there any messages, actual or implied, that might impact your ability to create abundance in your world? Those family members get ready to leave. You're aware of exactly how they're feeling, exactly what they're thinking. And just allow yourself, if there's any kind of mind energy, any kind of message that you might have been given at any time in your life that reflects as your family leaves their visit with you from this place of mediocrity. As they leave, again, they're not aware of it, but you're aware of every thought they think and exactly what they're saying to each other. Any messages there that would be useful for you to be aware of? Any thoughts there? And you breathe. And that group of early childhood friends comes to visit you in that place of mediocrity. How do they feel when they enter that space with you? What are their thoughts? How do you feel about being in that environment with them? What thoughts come up for you as you greet them in that environment? You interact, pay attention to emotions that may move, pay attention to the way you interact with them, what kind of thoughts are behind your actions, and breathe. As you talk with them, they talk with you. Are there any messages, actual or implied, that come from your mind or from them that might be useful for you to be aware of in terms of how you've been structured or perhaps programmed by your culture to create your life? You visit with them. They're ready to leave. You're aware of every thought they're thinking as they leave. You're aware of every word they're saying to each other. And how do those thoughts and words land in your structure? You allow your breath to continue to move because you know that's what equips you, that's what strengthens you, that's what brings healing, brings options, brings intelligence, brings possibility forward. You're ready. They leave. You're ready to depart from this environment. You make note of whether or not any kind of mind energy has been resonated by this experience. That might be useful for you to look at, be aware of, or deal with. And then you move into a third environment. This is now extreme opulence. Like your private library is second only to the Library of Congress. The front foyer is decorated with 6 Rembrandts. You've got it all. And your family comes to visit. How do they feel seeing you in this environment? What do they think? As you talk with them, what do they say to you? What do you say to them? How do they feel being in this environment with you? And they don't have to speak it, you're simply aware of it. How do you feel being in this environment, entertaining them? As you offer them tea and call the butler to bring the tea. Are there any messages, actual or implied, that you're silently recognizing within yourself about being in this environment with your family? Any conclusions about self or others? This time, as the family's ready to leave and say their goodbyes, and again, you're able to tap into how they're experiencing what happens. You hand each of them a set of keys to a brand new Mercedes sitting out in the park, waiting for them to drive away. Notice how each of those family members receives that set of keys and the message that this is their new Mercedes. How do they receive? Is it graceful receiving? Is it reluctant receiving? Is it refusal? And do their thoughts match their actions as you hand them those keys and explain to them what they're for? As you breathe, be aware of the thoughts in yourself as you hand each person that set of keys. Are there any messages your mind holds for them or for yourself that might be useful to look at? That perhaps impact the way that you create your life? And allow yourself to breathe and just be aware. And the family is left, and as they leave, once again, you're aware of what they're saying to each other, what they're thinking. Any messages that would be valuable for you to be aware of. And breathe. And then enter those early life friends, childhood friends, early relationships. As you welcome into your estate, how do they feel coming to visit you there? How do you feel about them being in that space with you? What are they thinking? How are they feeling? What are you thinking? How are you feeling? Are there any messages, actual or implied? As you sit, talk, and chat, any subtle mind energy to be aware of in the presence of these friends that might impact or might have impacted the way you create your life. As you breathe, does anything surface? Any messages, actual or implied? Any conclusions about yourself from being in this environment? Any conclusion about others? How do you feel about being in this much opulence, visiting with your friends? Is it natural? Is it ego pride? Is it wonderment? What's happening for you? And then once again, As your friends get ready to leave, you're aware of what they're thinking, what they're feeling. And as you hand each of them a set of keys to their new Mercedes, just notice how each of them receives. Are there any messages in how they receive that perhaps have impacted you? As they depart, you're aware of exactly how they're feeling. And as they exit the foyer, you still are in touch with their conversations. What are they saying to each other? About their visit with you, about your opulence? What are you saying to yourself? Any conclusions about yourself about being in such opulence? Any messages, actual or implied, about how you receive, about how you create? And you come back to this moment. Anyone have anything to share about what you just experienced? Is there anything that surprised you or gave you any insight?
I'll share.
Go for it.
Thank you so very much for that. I was yawning all the way through that.
Release time.
Oh my gosh, so much release. So interesting. Going to object poverty was not hard because I lived it. I was right back in the little shack. And interesting, you know what I realized through all of this? The setting doesn't matter. Inside, the light that I am can be in any setting. But what I did get in the poverty, a lot of the mind energy that was imprinted upon me was the mind energy of those perceiving it.
Mm-hmm.
And so, pity, a big one.
Cultural messages.
Yeah, pity. And then my siblings, and this actually happened, right? They would have come, my sister would have been 17, my brother 18 when they came back to visit. And I could see their shame. I don't even think I had a position that I was in poverty.
Right. It was just natural for you.
Didn't even know that, and then people, not only family, but people would come over and look at me. I look at us now. I realize that with pity, and oh my gosh, and the thought forms that were around that. Oh my God, how could they be living like this? All those type of thoughts. I could see it, and then I took that on. And then unworthiness, and oh my God, and then my siblings, I could actually experience their thoughts being there. What can we do about this? They shouldn't be living like this. And my sister actually did do that. And then seeing them walking away going, what are we going to do? And mom's not well, all that stuff. So she did actually phone my mom and say, if you do not leave, we will call social services and have them taken away. So got to see that piece. And then the mediocrity, it was that also my mom, after she left, lived in still poverty, I would say, but just basics coverage. But for my family, that I could see my siblings, they didn't expect anything more. That they were in their complete comfort.
That was the norm.
They were in complete comfort zone in that sitting. There was no that anything was bad. It just was. They were I could see they're very comfortable. No stretching for anything. For me, even as a little one, this can't be all there is. That thought, and scanning around and in the mediocrity also felt the same, but also recognizing the inside, the light, the setting doesn't matter. Okay. And then the opulence, believe it or not, I felt really comfortable there. But because it was a place of, I could be in love and just enjoy the surroundings. And then when my family came completely, and I had this experience, I took my mom on a trip to a beautiful 6-star resort in Bali. She was completely out of her comfort zone, said, I don't deserve this. There was a lot of that throughout the hold, completely out of her comfort zone. So my siblings and family was a lot about that when they were there. And then, like, what are you doing with all this stuff? And like, this is crazy, you know, you're greedy, and all the inner thoughts around stuff like that. So that must be in my family system, mind energy.
Might
But
be
when
some good worksheets.
yes, and then when I gave gifts to everybody, my friends and that, I just felt love. I just felt love and wanting to, but I could see their discomfort with receiving and the thoughts they were thinking. So, and so there must be some in my unconscious around that. But my childhood friends, because they've been with me since, 9 years old, my deep core friends, and they've always wanted to see me succeed. So there was a lot in this world of succeeding. They were very proud. And then, and then one has discomfort with receiving. One is a little jealous. She's told me that even in this life, right? That she feels jealous of all the things I do. So there must be something there to clean up as well. And, but I got to, it was just in love. I just felt wanting to share love and being able to be generous. That felt really good, both to my family, just the generosity.
Have you ever observed yourself receiving the way that they received with that discomfort?
Oh, for sure. Like, for sure. When people want to give me something, I make offerings for gifts that are expensive. And, I had a client when I was coming back from that gave me, I bought a piece and she gave me $2,000 towards the piece. And, just, and also took me out for the day. And I'm moving into receiving. But yeah, before I used to just always, oh no, and then that unworthiness for sure. But yeah, that was a really good exercise. Really good exercise. But the best part of the whole exercise is the setting doesn't matter.
Exactly.
It's the inner light, and that I get to be completely whole and complete. I could drop in a setting of homelessness. And many sages, I've met them, by the way, many great masters. I've met a few that are homeless. And they go into that setting. They're not attached to the setting, and they're in that setting to bring light, and that's their dharma for this life. I've experienced 3 in this lifetime. And then the opulence, I know people that have quite a bit of money, but I haven't been a lot in that setting. I used to feel extremely uncomfortable with people with a lot of wealth. Extremely uncomfortable. I could, and
what kind of thoughts did you have about yourself being, what was that discomfort
unworthy, feeling unworthy to be in this setting. And that, and I remember even as simple as a teenager, I remember I was 15, and I went to a party where there was all these university kids, like they were in university, and I felt so out of place then. And then thankfully, I went on to get university, but I went on at 27, but I realized I cleaned that up. There's once you're doing it, wait a second, it's just a tool in a tool belt. It has nothing to do with value. But yeah. And then I associated money and position with value. Yeah.
I had somebody that did this workshop once and came to me afterward, and they'd had a dream. And in the dream, God was showing them a huge warehouse, like a warehouse bigger than you could imagine, everywhere you looked, as far as you could see. Yeah. And the warehouse was just stacked with presents, beautifully wrapped presents. And in the dream, they asked God, why are you showing me this? What is this? And what they were told was, these are all the gifts that my children have asked for. And then when I tried to deliver them, they refused. Yeah.
I had an experience when I took out $1,000 in 50s, and I just went out and took Alexander with me, and we went and handed them out based on what someone would walk by and just go up to them, following the intuition of who to give it to. And in some cases, people, it was exactly, they would say, oh my God, thank you so much, I needed it. And other people wouldn't receive it. And one guy, I don't need your money, and I could read energy, right? The energy that he wanted to bring in a business from India. I could see when I was giving it to him, and I was trying to tell him that this is about receiving. It's got nothing to do about the money, but he would not receive it. And I said, thankfully I was intuitive. I know you're wanting to bring this business into Canada. But he went on to tell me that you're doing it because you think I need it because I'm coming from India. And I said, no, I'm here to show you your worth. And he didn't receive it, and 2 others wouldn't receive it either. Yeah.
Awesome.
So,
well, any other thoughts from that experience?
I'm going to do worksheets because in our knowing, I've been asked to bring in an ascension center or ascension location, and what I was told, you must have the energy to be able to hold it, to draw that in, and it's a consciousness to be able to hold prosperity. And so cleaning up this mind energy is really important. And I've been, working on that, but this really, today, I really saw, I think you did this exercise once before, I'm pretty sure. But last time I saw it, I saw lots of things, but this time what I loved, it went deeper, that there is no difference in me in the setting. I'm still the light of God. Nothing changes in me. That was
your environment says nothing about you.
Exactly. That's what I got. So
cool.
Thank you
nice
so
catch.
much for that. Yeah, thank you.
Awesome. Well, anybody else? Anything to share from that visualization? Push that mute button.
I'll share that I dropped in later when this was happening.
Right.
And what I wanted to share is wholly right on time. I love how when you connect with people and consistently, how we all start moving together. And potentially that was going to happen anyways. But obviously the awareness comes, and I had a big financial shift yesterday that hugely reduces income, and was doing worksheets, just going through this. And it was, there's more to do, but it was really beautiful how every worksheet would relieve more and deeper into calm and clarity. And so I'm really looking forward to coming back when the recording of this goes up and doing this. So thank you for this.
Well, holding space for whatever created this restriction flow to be forgiven and open up so that it ends up creating an increase in flow.
Thank you. And just a little bit of a reframe that might resonate a bit for others, that, sometimes we get very versed at opening ourselves to a stream of income that comes from a certain source in a certain way. And then when that starts closing, like after I did the worksheets, it was like, no, I'm opening up to not just new streams, but I'm opening further and deeper to abundance in a more expanded way, instead of believing that it can only come from this source specifically.
Cool. So any spigot can open up and deliver anywhere. Cool. Well, anyone else? Anything to share? Well, Psalms 51:10 to me fits in this exercise. And what it says is, create in me a clean heart. Put a right breath in me. And so breathing with each of you in. Opening that veil of your temple by opening your breath and cleaning from your heart, your unconscious, your carbon-based memory, anything that does not belong in a human form. And that you tap into continuously that highest level of breath that was really truly meant for us as humans. The breath, Ruka Dekucha, that third form of breath that is taken in and delivers the presence of love and intelligence to every cell in your structure and reinforces the presence of that Shikinta energy, that alignment energy. Now, one more visualization. We're going to run a few minutes over if that's okay. And you're in your own home. You go down to the mailbox. And there's one piece of mail in the mailbox. And you look at it, and the return address is the millionaire. You open the envelope, and there is the check made out to you from the millionaire. Remember the TV show? Made out to you. And I'm going to invite you to just make a note to list 10 things that you're going to do differently as a result of having that check. And then once you've listed those 10 things, and you say to yourself, but I don't have that check. Just ask yourself the question, what would happen if I go ahead and do those 10 things anyway? And then recognize that commitment is a big key in the process. Proverbs 16:3 says, commit your works to love and your thoughts will be established. Mind energy becomes flesh. W.H. Murray was leader in what was called the Scottish Himalayan Expedition in 1951. And here's what he wrote. But when I said nothing had been done, I erred in one important matter. We had definitely committed ourselves and were halfway out of our ruts. We had put down our passage money, booked a sailing to Bombay. This may sound too simple, but it is great in consequence. Until one is committed, there is hesitancy, the chance to draw back, always ineffectiveness. Concerning all acts of initiative and creation, there is one elementary truth, the ignorance of which kills countless ideas and splendid plans. The moment one definitely commits oneself, then providence moves too. A whole stream of events issues from the decision, raising in one's favor all manner of unforeseen incidences, meeting and material assistance, which no one could have dreamt would have come their way. I have learned, he says, a deep respect for one of Goethe's couplets. This actually is a translation of Faust by Goethe from back in 1835, and he translates it as, and this is the manager speaking this in the prelude to the theater. Quote, then indecision brings its own delays, and days are lost lamenting over lost days. Are you in earnest? Seize this very minute. What you can do or dream you can do, begin it. Boldness has genius, power, and magic in it. So I breathe with you and hold the space that this day is one of the best yet of your eternal life. And this year carries that through each day, improving in quality. Thanks for joining us. Bye.